What is up, my friends? You are very welcome along to tonight's late night agenda, and as always, it's a pleasure to be here with you. Thank you for giving me some of your evening, and I hope you've all had a wonderful day up to this point. Well, it's going to get better. However your day's been, let's be honest. It's about to get a little bit better, isn't it? You've got to get a little bit of Craig in your life, and that's what we all need. Said nobody ever, other than my ego, but there we go. Look, I'm delighted to be here with you all again. It feels like the content world is moving quick these days, you know. Liverpool news is coming out thick and fast. Lots of questions, lots of unanswered questions, lots of fear, lots of frustration, lots of anger. Lots of stuff, lots of emotions. I don't know what way you guys are, where you are with regards to your what am I looking to say here? Grief. What stage of grief that you guys are at? I feel like I'm definitely working through the stages at this point. I've gone from bargaining to anger to sadness to frustration. A little bit of optimism, but that quickly went back to frustration. It still feels very surreal for me anyway, and I'm sure probably to a lot of you good people. Has to be Alonso, not 100% perfect, but who is, said Duncan Bain, the pretender to the throne. He has gravitas. You got me, Duncan. You used the word gravitas, dude. You got me. That's all I need. Weird, right? I do feel like it's a big part, though, of the Liverpool manager's job. You got to have that gravitas. You got to have that machismo and any other buzzwords that we could use. It is a big part of it. And like you've said, not perfect, but I don't think anybody is. Myself and Connor were having a conversation this evening, right? And we were talking about just the managerial world at this moment anyway. It's a strange time, right? Because outside of course, Jurgen and, of course, Guardiola with Manchester City, you look around the world of managers and there's not anybody that I would really look to come into Liverpool. Like, Ancelotti would be great, but he's in a job at Madrid. The likes of Conte, Mourinho's, I don't think they're a fit for Liverpool Football Club. So I think the pool that we have to choose from is somewhat small, and that's why I think we have to make some concessions when we're looking at managers that we'd like to come in and why, and that's why I'm firmly of the belief of Alonso being the best fit that we can have whilst nobody's going to be perfect. I think we need to accept that part first. There isn't a perfect answer out there right now, because the perfect answer is Jurgen, and Jurgen's made his mind up on his future, so we have to go from there. What's this that Mark's been sending me in? Talking about news to Brentford, Mark sent me over. Liverpool are one of the teams who are apparently looking at him. Oh, what's this one? Right, so Sky Sports Germany have apparently said that Liverpool are looking to try and get clarity quickly on whether Alonso would be open to joining the club. You know, again, we know about this verbal clause in Alonso's deal that will allow him to talk to the likes of Liverpool, Bayern or Real Madrid if one of those three clubs came in. And weirdly, it could be in a world where two of those clubs are coming in for Alonso, and it feels like there's a bit of a race to get to Xabi quickest. So look, tonight, rather than me leading the conversation, there's one topic I want to discuss, but other than that, I'm open to a free flow of ideas this evening, so whatever subject you guys want to have a chat about, feel free to let me know in the chat. I did put out the preview for the Chelsea game that went out earlier on, and there was one aspect of that if you'd humour me, I'd like to start off with tonight. So I was reading through the comments. Previews are one of the few videos I do actually still read the comments on, because there tends to be less trolling in there and a lot more opinion on the actual team. So one of the subjects that caught my eye was the left back situation. So I gave my team prediction, and for those of you that haven't seen it, my team prediction was Alisson in goal, Trent at right back, Robbo at left back, Kanade, Virgil van Dijk, Alexis McAllister, Curtis Jones, Dominic Szoboszlai, then Diaz, Jota, Darwin. But the part that I'd like to have a conversation about and an exchange of opinions is the left back position. So I was going through, reading through the comments on the video, and a lot of people were saying, Craig, I want Joe Gomez to continue at left back. Joe Gomez has done a good job. And then it ranged from people who were, maybe it's too soon for Robbo to come back in, to other people who were just flat out saying, it's Joe's shirt right now. He hasn't done anything to be dropped, so Robbo has to earn his spot back. And they're all very fair and very valid opinions, but I want to give you my take on why I've gone with Andy Robertson at left back and not Joe Gomez, because I think it needs some explaining. So Joe's done a great job. I think we'll all agree. Since we lost Robbo, Costas came in. Costas did a fine job. Then he got injured, broke his collarbone, and Joe Gomez has come in and done a great job at left back. But one thing that I don't have the stats for, and I am working off my own perception, have we seen a drop off in the assists coming from the left side, particularly from the fullback position? I'm asking because I truly don't know the answer to the question off the top of my head, but my perception is that we have had a drop off. And also, I think there's something to be said for having a naturally left-footed player playing in the left-back position, because I think it gives us more options to either go around the outside with the crosses or to cut inside and play the ball across. I do appreciate and fully actually really like that people are sticking up for Joe, and we've all been very impressed with Joe Gomez since he's filled in. And his versatility, as I've said many times over the past few weeks and months, has been a lifesaver for us. But I still can't get away from the fact that Andy Robertson is our left back. Come hell or high water, he's the one for me that should be playing if he's fit. Now, another game or two perhaps to get him back up to speed with Joe at left back. I can understand that totally. But the part that I was, I guess, pushing back on a bit was the understanding from some people that they just want Joe to be the left back now. That's just the way it is, and Robbo has to earn the spot back. So I'm interested to see how people feel about that. Do you agree that Joe is the left back now? Or do you think Robbo has to come straight back in? Or do you think that it's a little bit too soon maybe for Robertson? We need Gomez for the Arsenal game is one of the comments that I can see. Yes and no. We did well against Arsenal in the Cup, but I don't expect the same Arsenal when we go there. And Gomez is more solid at left back. But Connor, do you know what? The part that really made me think actually was what Connor said. Connor said to me, think of it this way. When we have a back four with Trent in it, Trent drops into midfield when we're in possession a lot of the time. And that almost makes it like we've a back three then. And if in a back three system, Gomez is the left side of that back three, that makes a lot of sense to me about why that it would be appealing and why maybe the balance is a little bit better there. You are sacrificing a bit going forward, but we're already sacrificing that by allowing Trent to play in the hybrid role and vacate the right side. So when Connor said that to me, it made me reevaluate a little bit and kind of, I guess, understand a bit more why some people may be looking for Joe Gomez to continue in the left back role for the short term anyway. I don't see a world where it works long term, but I can understand a bit more why people might think in the short term it's a good option. For me, the way that Liverpool attack half spaces, I think we need an overlapping runner on the left-hand side. And Joe Gomez isn't that overlapping runner, whereas Andy Robertson is. And to think back to the year where we had those ridiculous amount of assists from Robbo and Trent, they were good days, weren't they? But I think for all the solidity we get from Gomez, we do lose a little bit moving forward. And in our system, I think the fullbacks are important. So I would still probably come down on the side of Andy Robertson, especially at home to Chelsea. But whether that comes too soon or not, I guess, is a fair comment. Gomez has done nothing wrong. But I don't think, for me, I'm not looking at this as Joe being punished, mate. I'm looking at it as Andy Robertson's our left back. And one of the best left backs in the league, in my opinion. So it's certainly not a case of Joe's done anything wrong. He definitely doesn't deserve to be dropped. I don't mean it that way at all. I think Joe's versatility will be a huge factor for us. And he's not going to nail down a position, I don't think, on the left side moving forward. Forever. I just don't see that happening. So I want to get your thoughts on the situation. What happens with that? And do you agree with what Connor said, that when we look at the situation with Trent at right back and him dropping into midfield, if we look to the back three, then Gomez on the left side of a back three makes a bit of sense. Robbo needs to build fitness, but it is his spot. He's better going forward, said Hex. He definitely is better going forward. But do you know what? Also, to counteract that conversation, it's been great having left back as a position where I feel solid defensively, and that's one thing since Joe's been there. I feel like he is a better defender naturally than Andy Robertson, if I'm being honest with you. I just think I can't get away from the fact that I like Liverpool to force the game. I like Liverpool to inflict our will on the opposition. And I think we do that better when we give them something to worry about, something to fear, which is the balls into the left channel or the breaks into the left channel. Maybe Darwin Núñez can occupy some of that on the left-hand side. And that was another part, actually, I wanted to discuss with you guys, was Darwin central versus Darwin left, because that was another thing that came up quite a bit in the comments. But for now, let's just keep the conversation going for a few minutes on the Joe Gomez part of it. A couple of super chats I want to read out before they go too far in the chat, and I missed them. So let me just get to them. Niall, welcome to Anfield Agenda FC. My man, Niall Kearney, really appreciate that. Do you think Klopp actually knows his replacement and made way for him? He said this is the time to go. Would there be more to it behind the scenes? I've been considering it, and we spoke a little bit earlier on about I would actually want to lean on Klopp for ideas on the next manager. I don't know if Klopp knows who it is. I don't. I'm trying to be respectful of this situation and keep belief in what Jurgen is saying, that there is no other person, there is no other option, there is no other reason. He just wants a break. So I'm trying to be honest about that. I feel like I missed another super chat though, so I need to just quickly dip in here. Bear with me. Sec, have I? No, I didn't miss it. That's good. Sorry, I hate when I miss people's super chats. So yeah, on the Joe Gomez situation, what are you saying? Do you agree that it should be Gomez to start this week, or do you think Andy Robertson comes in? And thank you for that super chat as well to Sandu. Appreciate you, Sandu Daniel. Darwin left for me, said Lee Claxton. Craven, I'll get to your comment in a minute about De Zerbi and Alonso, mate. I will get to that. I just want to keep the left back conversation for a minute. And while we're talking about the left back, actually, news in the chat there from Mark. Owen Beck has returned up to Dundee, where he'll be on loan for the remainder of the season. We did say to you guys the other day, because he played for Liverpool, the only options then for Owen Beck was either back to Dundee or stay at Liverpool for the season, and he's gone to Dundee. Calvin Ramsey has also got the Bolton Wanderers on loan for the remainder of the season, so we wish him all the best obviously there, and we'll keep an eye on what Calvin's doing. Joe Gomez should start, said Casper's Photography. Joe deserves to keep his spot, said Owen Keys. Do you know what? Fair play to you guys in the chat. You know, I like that loyalty. You guys know I've always been somebody who's more often than not said, I think if the shirt's yours, you keep it until you lose it. I don't know though, honestly, when Robert gets up to speed, I just feel we're better with Robertson in an attacking sense, but these are good headaches, right? It is much better that we're sitting here having this conversation about which one of our really good two left backs we should be using, rather than rushing Andy Robertson back because we felt like Joe just hasn't worked. It's been a really good headache in a positive way for the manager and for us fans to now look at and think, well, whoever plays, we're going to be all right, but which one should it be? Keep Gomez. He has the form and momentum, said Ash. Gomez right back, Robbo left back, Trent in midfield. So again, Dania, the only reason I've resisted the urge to move Trent into midfield in my predictions is I don't know what Trent midfield looks like fully in the Jurgen system yet, because we haven't really seen it. I don't feel comfortable with Trent in the number 6 role alone, because I don't think he has the ability to be press resistant and to press as much as we need from a defensive midfielder, but he does have that quarterback ball playing perfection of a pass that he can just ping everywhere, and of course he can get up and join the attacks as well. We've got a bit of freedom, which is why I think, and I've always said, if he does go into midfield, I think it becomes part of a double pivot, whether that's with Turo or whether that's with Alexis. I guess time will tell. Gomez would be a great defensive midfielder in the middle with Robbo outside of him. Next penalty, Gomez scores. T said Joe Gomez should start. Start Gomez, bring Robbo on at half time, said Joe Bristow. Look, they're all good options, and whoever plays, I'm sure, will be fine. You know, Gomez at left back or Robbo at left back. Now, Remember, when we play Chelsea, more often than not, these games have been draws and tough to break through. So that's probably why I'm looking a little bit more attack-minded for the game coming up against Chelsea, because I don't want another draw. I don't want another 0-0. We need to take momentum and a win into that game. But maybe going by what you guys are saying in the chat, if you start with Joe Gomez and see how the game's panning out, maybe that change for Andy Robertson will give us momentum to go on and win the game, or push for a second, I guess, if we have a lead. Good headaches though, right? Good headaches to have. So, let me get back to this. Would you rather Van Dijk leave or Salah leave? Said Jay and Rob Gaming. I love when people put me on the spot with these things, because these are the type of things that get clipped up and get me in trouble, because people assume I'm just talking about it without being put a question being put to me. So, who would I rather leave? Salah. I'll always come down on because of my history watching Liverpool, we've never been struggling to score goals, but we have struggled to win league titles with a solid defence. So I'll probably always come down on the side of wanting to have the continuity of defence, because I feel you can always find another person to score goals. But if you're looking for a leader at the back, we know how long and how big a search that was to finally find Virgil van Dijk after, having the last one probably Hyypiä, Carragher. So I'd probably come down on the side of Virg in that conversation. Again, I just want to talk about Virgil's comments in his article. To me, it's a nothing piece, and something like, I'd be more concerned if Virgil said, I'm 100% staying at Liverpool no matter what happens, because I wouldn't say that in his position. I think it's perfectly reasonable to want to see who the next manager is going to be before committing anything to any club or any business. I guess if I'm being uber critical of the quotes from Virg, what he said I'm absolutely fine with. It all makes sense to me, but it'd be nice if he added in something like, but I love Liverpool Football Club, I'm proud to be captain of here, and something like that. I feel like that would have stopped the ability of Sky and some others to be able to try and turn this into a situation when I don't think it is a situation. For me, I'm not feeling like this is a sign the Verge wants out, because let's be frank about this. Whatever way we talk about it, even if Liverpool let him go on a free, at that point he's 33, heading for 34. So an extension for Verge probably looks like a maximum of 2 years anyway. So I'm not that scared about it all, because I think it gets done and gets sorted. But I do think it's reasonable for him, Trent or Mo or anybody else to understand the plans for the club before committing. Especially for the likes of Mo and Verge, because these are probably the last big contract of their careers. So probably more important at this point that they make sure that they're still in a good position to try and accomplish legacy, trophies, important stuff that younger players may have more time on their side. NZODHDTHS said we've always scored goals. Indeed we have. So somebody else went back, and I promised the person I'd come back to this question, and said, why do I want Alonso more than De Zerbi? Which in some ways I think is a bit of a naive question, but in other ways I think is understandable. So the reason I want Alonso over De Zerbi is, one, the connection to Liverpool. That's already established in there. Two, I feel like he has the gravitas and pulling power in world football that I don't personally think De Zerbi has. With regards to coaching ability, look, De Zerbi's been around longer in that regard. De Zerbi has far more experience and has done it in multiple leagues. But you also have to look at how Xabi Alonso got to this point in his fledgling managerial career, where we're already talking about him with such confidence. And part of that has to do with the latter part of his playing days. So if you look into it, he was very strategic when he was at Real Madrid about joining Bayern Munich. And why did he join Bayern Munich? It's to learn off Pep Guardiola. So even in his latter playing days, it was always something Alonso was looking towards and building towards, learning from Mourinho, Ancelotti, coming to Pep Guardiola and Bayern Munich. It was done with a reason, being he was planning ahead. He was looking to become a manager and a coach. So that's why I think it's the best fit for Liverpool. And that's why I'm more pro Alonso than De Zerbi. Because I think the Liverpool managerial job, the connection with the city, for me, is as important as the connection with the football and the fans and the heritage. And I just think all of that comes with Alonso. And I think he could be the heartwarming start to a new chapter. Because whatever happens, life after Jurgen's going to be scary. Life after Jurgen's going to be uncertain. And I just think Alonso's a better bridge to the new era. Because he's a little bit more familiar, if that makes sense. De Zerbi does. Ansu Fati wants to play under De Zerbi. Yeah, wanted to play under him so much that he guaranteed there was no option to buy in the deal to take her from Barcelona. So, yeah, he wanted to play under him for a year. But, look, honestly, I don't think De Zerbi has as much clout in the world of football as Alonso. Alonso has done everything in football. From a playing perspective, won it all. Champions Leagues, World Cups, European Cups, played at the top clubs, has the stature, knows the club, is adored by Liverpool fans already. And I think would be a reassuring appointment to the players like Fergie or Trent, who wants to see the type of manager the club are looking to bring in, the style of football they're going to look to play. And I think also would be, and this applies to De Zerbi as well in fairness, both of them would be able to do a lot with the squad that's there. De Zerbi could absolutely come in and coach these players into playing and achieving what they're capable of. Because he's a good coach. He's a really good coach. But I am a little bit blinded because, you know, you look around and we have these conversations. What do we think? What do you think? Sometimes the numbers don't lie. And you look around at the amount of people who are making the connection, from Raphael Honigstein to Melissa Reddy to John Aldridge to The Echo to me to, I'm sure, I haven't watched it, but I'm sure Redmen or the Anfield Rap or Coppish or others. I'm sure a lot of people are beelining straight for Alonso for a reason. Because, again, the trust and familiarity is there, I think. Alonso hasn't got the experience to manage a top club just yet. But he has. That's the point I'm trying to make. He has in another way. Because he's been planning for a top job. He's been planning towards this since he was a player. And has made decisions strategically to put him in places to get his career to that top level. It might be a year too soon. You know, ideally, if Jurgen stayed till the end of next season, this probably is a much easier conversation with everybody because we have a bigger sample size with Alonso. But, you know, you can't not be impressed with what he's done so far with this Leverkusen team. Unbeaten in the Bundesliga. Sailing through in the Europa League group stages. That's, whatever we think, that's impressive. But he hasn't got over the line yet. He hasn't won the title yet. We've seen managers as well, like Steven Gerrard, with a good start to their young careers. He went up to Rangers, had an invincible season, then went to Villa and it fell apart for him. So I think Alonso will be a bit more calculated in looking at the next job and will ask for, I'm sure, more questions around the structure, budgets, that type of stuff than he probably would have when he accepted a job like Bayer Leverkusen, because he'll know the demands to manage Liverpool and what will be expected from him to deliver will be probably exceeding Leverkusen. I'm sure the plan there was probably get them back into the Champions League, not to go and win the Bundesliga straight away, although that will now be the goal for him. Rachel, thank you for gifting a membership, my friend. Pep had 1 year with the Barca B team before he managed Barcelona. Exactly. Sometimes players are just fast-tracked for a reason. So for every Pep Guardiola or Xavi Alonso. There will be your Steven Gerrard, your Frank Lampards, your John Terrys, your other players who their name got them the jobs alone, or their connection to a club. I don't think that's just the case with Alonso. It is the whole package of what he brings, and his knowledge and his understanding and his gravitas and his just acumen, how he sees football. Do you think a new manager will back Darwin Núñez, said Jay and Rob Gaming? Yes, I do. Why wouldn't you? Obviously, we'll have to see the style of football the new manager plays, but like Darwin's coming into a good patch now, and if he continues his goal scoring form for the remainder of the campaign, I think a new manager will be looking forward to working with Núñez, and certainly not looking at him as a problem to be solved. I think it'll be excitement of what can I get out of this guy, and can I unleash his full potential. I don't know who that is. That Torsten, I don't even know how to pronounce that name. You said Marcasaurus. Well, if it's a Marcasaurus, it's full of shit. I don't have much trust for a lot of the Spanish media around anything non-Spanish. I find them very destabilising, very manipulative towards an agenda that's usually to do with one of the Spanish clubs. Right, so lots more stuff to get through as well. The Carabao Cup. So that kickoff time has been confirmed now, has been moved to 3 p.m. The Metropolitan Police were concerned that Liverpool and Chelsea fans would clash. So the game's been moved to 3 p.m. I've had my say on this before, you know my thoughts on it. I'm fed up of football fans being looked at like scumbags. I find it demeaning a lot, and I'm also getting fed up of the good kickoff times being shafted over because the police want an easier life. That pisses me off as well. I don't that Man City game being moved to 12:30 still doesn't sit right with me, because we were denied the better kickoff time, the better game, more rest. It's just, I don't like it. I don't like police having an impact on football. It bugs me, especially when we're not talking about a league anymore where like there's huge hooligan factions and fans fighting in the streets all the time and ultras and all this other crap. I just find it lazy, and I find it demoralising to football. And again, yeah, don't like it. I think football fans need to be treated with a bit more respect than we do. A bit of a thing on pre-season really quickly before we get back to the managerial stuff. It looks like Liverpool, Manchester United and Arsenal are all set to play each other in pre-season friendlies over in North America coming up at the start of next season. The article in The Athletic goes on to say that the thinking behind this from the top clubs like Liverpool, United, Arsenal and stuff is that with the World Cup and stuff and other things coming to America in the future, in the near future, this is probably the best opportunity to get over there for commercial reasons, of course, before a campaign gets underway. Also, look, we know Jurgen isn't fond of these things as well. Some people will start to question. Well, actually, do you know what? It was during a pre-season meeting, wasn't it, where they were talking about what they'd be doing for next season's pre-season, that Jurgen's mind started to wander, according to the articles I've read. And I don't blame him. I don't see how this is conducive to anything football related other than the brand. And if you're a manager like Jurgen, you want those 2-4 weeks in Austria, Germany, where you're together and the focus is solely on preparing for the new season and not commercial partnerships or money, basically. This is the grubby business side of football that I guess a manager must be frustrated by, because they want to coach, they want to get them ready for the season, but of course the clubs want to continue to grow the brands. What I don't like about these pre-season tours of the likes of America is I feel everybody gets shortchanged. I think the fans who pay good money to want to come and see their idols up close, which is of course understandable. If Liverpool comes to America, that may be the first and only opportunity for a lot of people to come and see Liverpool up close. But then you got to pay absorbent prices, and you end up with watered down versions of games compared to the energy levels and battle hardened nature of a Premier League game. And you'll get a lot of top players not playing, or not being ready for games yet because they were playing in the Euros, and there's always downsides to it that ends up being very anticlimactical for the fans. So yeah, I look, I know we've got a lot of people in the chat from America or other parts of the world. How do you guys find these things when Liverpool rock up in your part of the world? I love that fans get to see the club up close, don't get me wrong, but I feel like they're sold the vision of what it's going to be, and the product that's delivered isn't what fans would have hoped. It's a watered down version of the rivalries between Liverpool and United, or United and Arsenal and stuff like that. I just feel like it doesn't live up to the expectation. Craig, would you take Mourinho as the next Liverpool manager? Absolutely not, Joel. No, not a chance in hell, mate. I think Jose should move to international football at this point, in my humble opinion, but it just doesn't strike me as a good fit for Liverpool. Let's have a look at the odds, though. Some Sky Bets odds of Liverpool's next manager have come out, and sometimes these things give you an indication, sometimes they just let you know where the money's gone. But what I find interesting about this is how low down on this list some of the managers are that are being spoken about a lot by you guys and me. Charlie said if it comes down to Bayern or us, he'll pick us. I think so as well, Charlie. I think so as well, mate. I think that connection is stronger for us. And also it'll be less hurtful to the Leverkusen fans if he doesn't go to another club in Germany. Right, so anyway, the odds of Liverpool manager, Alonso is 2-5, which, means he's odds on. Means he's the far most likely according to the bookies and where the money's going. Second on the list is De Zerbi, 6-1. But a huge jump there, right? From 2-5 on to 6-1. That's looking unlikely. Pep Linders, 8-1. What got me was Linders ranked ahead of Nagelsmann. That one caught me off guard. Julian Nagelsmann, 12-1 as an option for Liverpool to look at. Ange Postecoglou, 14-1. Ruben Amorim, somebody that you guys have mentioned a lot, Sporting Lisbon manager. His name has come up. Thomas Frank, 16-1. But here's the ones, right, that confuse me. The next four I'm about to read out. Steven Gerrard, Unai Emery, Xavi Hernandez, and Zinedine Zidane, all at 20-1. Which basically means it ain't happening. Like, them odds are too long for anybody to think they're even serious considerations. Which I think shows what I've been trying to say to people a lot about Zidane. It's just this non-starter for a whole host of reasons. So, look, if you're looking at the bookies, the top 5 options for them: Alonso, De Zerbi, Linders, Nagelsmann, and then Postecoglou and Amorim. Now, on Ruben Amorim, a little bit on him actually. Sport Witness said that he has a release clause in his contract at Sporting Lisbon. So if Liverpool or anybody else wanted to come in to take their manager, they'd have to pay £17 million to take him from his job now, which is a fair chunk of money for a manager. So, keep that in your thoughts as well when you're suggesting the next manager, because 17 million quid is a lot of money to pay for a manager. How do you think Xabi's play style will work at Liverpool? I'm still trying to get up to grip or get to speed with Alonso's playing style. So like you guys, I'm watching as many videos as I can about his system, some clips of Bayer Leverkusen playing. Obviously there's less information about his days at Sociedad B, but I just think, this is what I think. Any manager that walks through the door, no matter what formation they play or what their tactical preference is, there's a group of players there that can will do like fit anywhere. They're just damn good players. So you're lucky to walk in and get the job because. And I keep coming back to this point, and I know I sound like I'm repeating myself, but it's an unusual situation. An unusual, attractive situation, because you're being offered a job not because the manager's failed miserably, or because the club's in turmoil, or because the players have stopped playing for a manager. You're being offered a job because a manager has sincerely looked at himself and said that he's running out of energy, and he doesn't think he can give the same commitment. But you're getting a club with a great playing squad, great framework, great players in a great position with goodwill. It's an attractive gig. And you're coming in, like, we're talking about Bayern Munich, right? They're not in the greatest place as Bayern Munich. They're just not. So somebody coming in there, there's some political things behind the scenes of Bayern that, they'll have to sort out and win over. There's a bit of infighting there. Liverpool's just attractive. There's not many downsides other than, I guess, if you expect a huge transfer budget and you talk to FSG and that isn't forthcoming, fair enough. But from every other aspect, it's like a dream scenario for a manager to walk into. Is Van Dijk going to do a Henderson and leave us high and dry? I don't know. I don't know the answer to it, because I don't think Verge can know the answer to it yet. He needs to know, Trent needs to know, Mo needs to know who the next manager is, which is why I think making this announcement as quickly as possible is important, because then you can sit down with Trent and Verge and Mo and say, well, X and Y is coming in. This is the plan. We want you to be part of that plan. In Verge's sake, you're the club captain. We want you to continue leading. But I guess they have to be happy with the vision as well, because it's their careers. And for Verge and Mo, this is probably their last big contracts, because they're at the tail end of their career. Whereas Trent, he has 7, 8, 9, 10 years left in his career, so probably not as daunting a proposition if it takes a year or two for a manager to gel in, whereas it's taken a while for us to get back up here to be winning trophies again. And if a manager comes in and let's say they appointed somebody who Verge just quite simply doesn't rate, then I think it's understandable that he looks to go out. But if it's somebody he's excited about, then it's probably easier to get him to sign that new deal. So I guess it depends on the appointment. I personally don't want either, but if it was out of Tuchel or Nagelsmann, who would you take? Nagelsmann, out of those two. I don't like Thomas Tuchel. I don't like his persona. I just don't like him. I just feel if we got Thomas Tuchel, I'd feel like we're getting a worse version of the exact manager we had. So I'd already straight away be going into it of a mindset of, this is just a watered down version of Klopp. Will the manager choice be up to the data guy? It won't be up to him, but I think what you're saying is about the Will Spearman thing, where Lewis Steele said Liverpool's search for Jurgen Klopp's successor is set to be placed in the hands of Will Spearman, who works as a data cruncher for the club. He'll be given a key role in the recruitment process. So I think ultimately he'll play part of it, but the owners will have a lot to say in it as well. It's a huge decision to make, and we've got to get it right, or we end up becoming another Manchester United. Niall Kearney, thank you Niall for your super chat, said Peter Moore suspects that FSG were putting soft feelers out for manager when Klopp told him about leaving. Before it came out, Klopp announced it. I can absolutely see a world where that's possible, Niall. The whole thing felt rushed to me, the announcement. We heard that it was recorded the night before or the day before. And yeah, it does feel like maybe somebody was getting wind of it happened and Klopp wanted to control the narrative, and so did the club. Totally understandable. And also, once it is public, it's a lot easier to start approaching agents or doing your research in the background when everybody knows the lay of the land. Salah for me as well. Based on our squad makeup at the moment, it makes more sense. Salah's the one I'm most concerned about, to be honest with you. Yeah, he's the one that I most worry about. Because for Verge, you're a Liverpool captain. I don't see where Verge goes. I don't see. Do I see Italy as an attractive proposition for him? No. Do I see him going to Spain? No. But Mo, there's always been a bit of talk from the journalists about him maybe feeling he has one more chapter at the top level in Europe. So I've always been a bit more nervy about his situation. Maybe that's my own arrogance though, and thinking Verge is Liverpool captain, why would he want to move? But I guess time will tell on that one. Lucien St. Clair said, "We have a good group of players. I just hope we don't get a manager who wants to come in and tear up the playbook, or who may not give our younger players enough playing time." Yeah, so what makes me concerned about this managerial search is who's conducting it. I know Klopp has said he doesn't want a role to play in it, but I'd feel far more comfortable if he did. I don't know about you guys. Non-football people making a decision about football never fills me full of confidence, and any mistakes that FSG have made have either come from greed or a misunderstanding of the football culture. So I would actually be far more calm right now if Jurgen was having an input on the next manager. So yeah, the fact that he isn't actually has me more concerned rather than less. Mark, thank you for renewing your membership, mate. Appreciate have you back, our chief moderator. If Mo goes, it upsets the front line. VVD could mess up the defence. Klopp go messes up everything. Again, I feel like a lot of people are doing that whole burying their head in the sands and just keep saying, I don't want Mo to go, or I don't want somebody else to go. Yeah, that's great, but somebody has to sort it. We can't all just say, I don't want this person to go anywhere, and then keep burying their heads in the sand and then they leave on a free. Somebody has to make these tough decisions, and somebody's going to have to front up. And we as fans are emotionally attached. That's understandable. But look, put it this way, I'm going to say what I would do. If I'm Alonso and I got offered the job and I'm walking in and I hear from the owners that, let's say, you've X amount of money to work with, have a look at the squad, see what you think, and if there's anybody in particular you want to sell to help fund, let's do that. And honestly, I'm not lying, Salah's the first name on my list to sell. Because I know he's not going to be there for 3, 4, 5 more years, probably. And I think it's a lot of money to bring in to help regenerate and bring in more attacking talent. Whereas I feel more comfortable with my centre-back playing till 36, 37, 38. When you don't rely on pace as much as Verge doesn't. He reads the game the way he plays. I'd feel more comfortable committing a contract to him for a few more years than a forward who's, whatever we say, however we dress this up, his best years are behind him. You could maybe say the same for Verge as well, absolutely. It's a valid point, but the reading of the game defensively is a big part to play in it as well. And I just think this Mo situation is going to end up in it being sold this summer. And I think if we're all really honest with ourselves, that's probably what we think is going to happen. Some people don't want to say it out loud. Some people probably absolutely disagree. But, you know me, I like to try and cut through the niceties and get to the point. And I feel like the point is he's going to be sold. I felt like that for a long time. Whatever my preference is or isn't, I felt like that's the most likely outcome here. And after hearing Jurgen's going, I'm even more convinced that Mo's going. Because it gives him an easier get out of jail card, if you get me. Or an easier pathway to us understanding why he might leave. Because the manager's the one that's like never doubted Mo, and rightly so, by the way, don't get me wrong. Never doubted Mo, always been somebody who was spoken about Mo in a positive way, looked after Mo, gone to bat for Mo when he needs to. And with him not being there, maybe Mo doesn't feel the same connection. I don't know. Tough to know. Not knowing these individuals, it is tough to say. We've proven we can play without him, said JSR12. Grab the money. 33 years old, still get 80 million, even more, said Silent. For who at 33? Remember, like, the situation with Mo is he's got a year to go at the end of this year. So, if we don't renew him, you have an option of either selling him or letting him leave for free. I guess you could say the same with Verge, but I don't know, I just feel with Verge having the armband maybe didn't mean that much to Henderson, I guess, excuse me, but yeah, for Verge, I just feel like he has more of a connection to the club, if I'm being honest. Maybe I'm reading that situation wrong. I think the club is being sold. No. If anything, I think that's the exact opposite. Because if you look at it this way, if you were going to sell Liverpool, you would sell it when Jurgen Klopp's there as manager. Because peak value. The new owner coming in knows that they have Klopp there as manager. If you're preparing to sell the club, moving on Jurgen and bringing in an uncertainty probably wouldn't lead to peak valuation. So I don't think that's the case. So I don't think they're looking to sell. Maybe the VVD is playing his cards to get a better deal. Absolutely. 100%. That's perfectly natural. Look, players and their agents will leverage any situation to their side and benefit. Of course they will. That's their job. Their job is to get the best deal they can for themselves and, fulfill their ambitions as footballers. That's why I don't hold any ill will to Salah. If he wants to move on, and I know people think I'm cold towards Salah, but I understand him. I understand if he wants to go and try Spain. Done Italy, done the Premier League, plays international football. I get it. If he feels he's another chapter in his career, okay, thank you. I really loved having him here, but, if he moves, he moves. And I understand it because he's a cultural phenomenon. He's a brand on top of the footballer, more so than I think anybody else we have at the club. Losing Klopp and potentially Salah and VVD would be a big blow. It would, but I guess another way to look at that is at some point all of the above has to happen. Whether it happens incrementally or whether it happens all at once remains to be seen. But right now, all we know for certain is that Jurgen's stepping down at the end of the season. With Mo, with Trent, with Verge, we don't know what's happening at the minute. Liverpool have always had great managers and players and survived. Yep, absolutely. Many fans wanted Mane to stay over Salah in the past. I don't understand what that has to do with the price of cabbage. Fans, we all have different opinions. We all have different players we like and don't like. And yes, some fans wanted Mane to stay, some fans wanted Salah to go, but that doesn't really matter because Mane left and Salah stayed, and that's the actual situation. However that happened, why ever that happened, I don't know, but Mo chose to sign a new deal and stay, and we're all very grateful for that. I just don't get the feeling he does it again, especially now with Jurgen gone. Just my take. Who's the best replacement in your opinion for Salah if VVD indeed leaves? I've always said I don't think you can replace Salah with one person because the expectation's too high. Nobody will do what he's done over the last 4, 5, 6 years. Nobody. There isn't anyone I don't think that we could afford that will do it. But he wasn't that player when we brought him in either. And I think we need to remember that. Mohamed Salah became this version of Mohamed Salah for a few reasons. His own hard work, determination, lifestyle, the way he lives as an athlete, the manager, the team around him, playing to his strengths. So, whoever we bring in, I think my take will be they have to form part of a front unit that scores goals. Whoever scores them is irrelevant. It's winning games. I don't care about individual accolades. I don't care about golden boots, golden gloves, Ballon d'Ors. Couldn't give a shit. I care about Liverpool Football Club winning games of football. Whoever helps us do that, however they score, assist, doesn't matter to me. It's about winning the games of football. So I bring in somebody to suit the system and to give us another option. And with Mo, that's probably a right winger because that's where he plays for us. Can you update us on what Paul Gore said about Klopp? I don't know what you mean. Is there something in particular? Because I read a piece from Paul Gorst, which was a really good piece actually, where he spoke about Mike Gordon phoning back Jurgen Klopp with an offer to basically say, will more money help? Which, you know, money wasn't the issue for Klopp, so it wasn't about that. But other than that, I don't really know what else Paul Gorst has said in that piece that hasn't been maybe said elsewhere. There's certainly no breaking news in it that I remember. I think Alonso could bring out Darwin's goal scorer and he could bang 30-40 goals a season, said XESG. I think Gomez starts on Wednesday in front of Robbo. Maybe, Dave, yeah. I mean, look, I have no issues. If Joe Gomez starts against Chelsea on Wednesday, I'm sound with that, mate. He's earned that trust. My own preference would be to get Robbo back in as soon as possible because he's left-footed and feels more balanced. But, again, I'm not disappointed if Joe starts. Joe's been great. Andrew Webb said, when I heard about Klopp leaving, I thought it was fake news. If Xabi comes in, what player would you like him to... I think he meant to say sign there at the end. Centre-back, whoever that is for Xabi Alonso's system, whether he goes back for Hincapié or he feels like there's somebody else that he think would work with the way he wants to play at Liverpool. Outside of that, I guess sorting out the contracts is the most time sensitive thing that needs to be done for those three players in question. We need a resolution there as well. Whatever that resolution is going to be, look, we're going to have to just take that on the chin, but it needs to be resolved because uncertainty is nobody's friend. Alonso will bring the best out of Gakpo as a 10 along with Szoboszlai, Maka and Gravenberch, said Harry Klein. Somebody else also said that maybe he's the one to get a bit more out of Fabio Carvalho. So, actually, now that I'm thinking back about this, do you remember Fabrizio Romano said, I think it was about 2 weeks ago, that Liverpool still feel there's a plan for Fabio Carvalho and he still has a role to play in the squad, maybe as early as next season. Now looking back on that comment, with what we know about Klopp not being here next season, it kind of makes me look at the whole situation with Carvalho a bit differently. And maybe, did they butt heads? Was there a disappointment in Klopp maybe with how Carvalho trained, and maybe with a new manager now, that's where the club are briefing that there's still maybe a role for Carvalho next season or moving on? If VVD and Salah go, do you see Alisson leaving? I mean, I don't like that we're all going straight to the catastrophic version of what happens. You know, you plan for the worst, but you expect better. So, can I see Alisson going? Well, he's under contract, so that's the first thing I'd say. Without knowing these gentlemen as people, how I don't know how I answer the question, because I don't know how big the manager is to a particular player, you know, or I just don't think I can answer it. I don't know, but I hope no, because God, he's the best in the world. Welcome, Kevin Schaefer, to Anfield Agenda Ultras, man. Thank you so much. for your... Sorry, I'm just reading the comment here in my WhatsApp that I can't say out loud, but it's funny. Thank you so much, man, for joining Anfield Agenda Ultras. Really appreciate you. Right, a couple of quick shameless plugs. Don't forget again, Anfield Agenda live in Boston. Ticket link is in the description, or you can search Ticketmaster. March 22nd at the House of Blues Foundation Room, right beside Fenway Park. And also, our Clips channel. Do search and check out Anfield Agenda Clips for shorter form content. And we think you're going to enjoy that channel moving forward, because we're having a bit of fun with some of the edits and stuff on there as well. So do check that out. What's my beauty routine? Throw water on my face, shave me noggin, and hope for the best is probably it. Do you know what I mean? That is it. Occasionally, when my head gets a bit chafed from shaving it, I have to rob some of the Mrs. Nivea cream or whatever to throw on it. But ultimately, mate, I don't have a beauty routine other than shaving me nostril hair and occasionally trimming the eyebrows back when they need to. Sorry, eyebrow, my bad. David Newell said if Alonso is the one, he definitely won't bring in anybody from Leverkusen unless they've already agreed to sell them in the summer. Managers very rarely raid old clubs unless their name is Ten Hag. Yeah, I would agree. You know, but with the caveat, exactly as you've said there, mate. Unless there's already an understanding that maybe they would be sold in the summer anyway. Top 5 players who will improve under Xabi, and you put Costas down as one. Well, it's a really good question, Harry. Thank you. Top 5 players who would improve under him. Bajcetic, McAllister, Gravenberch, Trent, Canade. That would be the 5 off the top of my head. Some of them really obvious because midfield roles, midfielder who sees the game maybe in a different way to some other midfielders. So some obvious ones in there like your McAllister's, Bajcetic. Canade, I feel he would just continue to develop and come on. Naturally, maybe he would have anyway because he's just a top class defender. Trent, again, you know, if he moves to midfield, then you have the conversation. But I wonder is there a world if Alonso comes in where Trent just becomes a wing back or, you know, has less defensive options under Alonso, or would he just move him into midfield? I don't know. I love where we're already speaking about Alonso almost being a formality. Didier Deschamps is a decent manager. You don't want to know my answer to that because it would get me in trouble. So I'm just going to say, yes, he is a decent manager and leave it at that. Is part of you hoping Klopp does a Ferguson and changes his mind? Of course. Yeah. But I'm not going to allow that to be a thought in the back of my mind because it'll just set myself up for disappointment. But of course, you know, every day between now and Klopp leaves, I'll hope to get up and see the news that Jurgen's changed his mind, but I just don't see it happening. Not sure Trent is quick enough for a wing back. Bradley is though. And as I was saying it, I was realising that I was probably talking about the wrong Liverpool player, Goomy. Bradley's probably the one that fulfills that role best, right? So you're probably spot on, mate. Did you see Graham Bailey saying Michael Edwards could return? So I thought Michael, if again, sorry for my thoughts because I don't know if they're factual or not, but I was sure that he was working with Ian Graham. Is that the guy who started the consultation company? I was sure that he'd gone into business with him. But look, bring him back. If it's possible, by God, bring him back. You know, I'm big on continuity of football clubs and get him back in, brilliant. That would be great. But all I know is that he's working with Ian Graham or whatever the guy's name is who started that consultation firm. Why isn't anyone talking about Simeone? Because he's a football terrorist. And you would last 2 weeks before screaming for a new manager if Simeone was our manager. You'd enjoy the emotion on the sideline, but my God, the very, very defensive, dull, time wasting. Nah, just no. He's just no. I couldn't. I imagine we were that Atletico Madrid team that was feigning injury to waste time and shithousing, and no, thank you. I want my football played far more attractively than that. So yeah, it wouldn't be one for Cholo Simeone. But weirdly, I could see Klopp going to Atleti, because I think he could. Of all, like, people talk about him in Barca and Real Madrid, I've always thought if he goes to Spain, Atletico Madrid's the most likely, because they're just that one level below, and he would feel like he has, enough financial power to do some damage with a new stadium, an active, emotional fan base who like being the plucky underdogs but are still good. So I could see Klopp going to Atleti. I think that's the most likely for Spain, if I'm being honest. If I was to pick a club Klopp would manage in Spain, that's who I would say. If Xabi comes in and Mo goes, Xabi pull for Wirtz, thoughts? Look, Florian Wirtz is a great footballer, so the idea of him coming to Liverpool is never going to get a no from me. But as somebody said earlier on, you'd have to wait and see what the understanding is when he leaves, if he leaves Leverkusen. Andrew Webb, thank you so much, mate, for the super chat. And by the way, before we move on into some more chat for the next, I'm going to stay on for another 45 or so, I just want to say another thank you to you all for making this last few days bearable, because I've got lots of messages in Discord and from other people and emails to say thank you for the content over the last few days. It's helped to be able to express your own feelings of anger, sorrow, sadness. But, I want you guys to always know that it's great to hear that maybe we help you guys, but don't think it's not a two-way street. Because I've needed this channel and these streams myself since Friday. Because this is, embarrassingly, it's probably impacted me more than it should as a 42-year-old man. But I feel really sad that our manager is leaving, because I've never had this much of a connection to a Liverpool manager, or this much belief and unwavering loyalty to a football manager at a football club. So whatever you guys think, I promise you, I owe you guys just as much of a thank you, because you've helped me through a lot over the years, but certainly the last few days I've definitely leaned into the Discord group and to you guys on here, and you probably even noticed I'm streaming more over the past few days. I need this as well, because this is, at this point, it feels like a self-help group more than anything over the Klopp situation, so thank you for that. Whoever comes in to replace Klopp should be given the time to implement their style of play. Hope fully FSG backs whoever come in and we don't end up like United, said Andrew Webb. I feel like they'd be idiots to do that, to not back the new manager coming in, because we as fans don't want a company man, right? We don't want a yes man to come in and just be FSG's bidding. I don't like managers, really, and it's the only thing that's tough to say this, but it's the only thing I found with Klopp that I have wished that he was a bit more ballsy with. But I understand why he wasn't, and he was respectful to the owners, who've been very respectful to him. But sometimes I feel like it's good if you have a manager who holds the owner's feet to the flames a little bit more. You don't need to go full on Rafa at times, or Conte or Mourinho, but a bit of pushback, a few little shots fired in the media when you want the fans to know you're trying to get the owners to invest That's the only thing I probably feel. So I don't want I don't want the yes man to come in and just work to everything FSG say and all their parameters. I do want them to be pushy, and I want them to have goals they want met and success they want to deliver. Mahmood said 45 more minutes with Craig. Yeah, why not? That's something the wife never hears anyway. I'm 52 and had a tear in my eye watching the Klopp interview, said Martin Aston. As a 42-year-old man, well said, Craig. Honestly, I feel a little bit silly about the Klopp stuff. Like, sometimes I feel like my wife's looking at me going, dickhead, you know no one's dead, right? Like, Klopp's fine. He's healthy. He's got a good life. His family love him. Grandfather. The football club's still there. You know, you're still going to get to watch Liverpool every week. You still got your channel grow up. But I've always said, us men are big babies. And we don't grow up. So, yeah. These are one of those times where I think my wife looks at me as if to go, what have I married? Did you see Mo Chatra's tweet about summer budget will be huge and should be back? No, but God, please link it, Ryan. I don't really want to look at much social media content, but Mo Chatra, as you know, is somebody whose opinion I think, you know, deserves to be listened to and looked at, because, you ready, Connor? He knows his onions. Yeah, no, I respect Mo Chatra a lot, and the work that he's done. So definitely, if he speaks about football finance, I'm ready to listen. Craig, a big baby, said Downtown Vegas. Excuse me, dickhead? You mean business class, Craig? Big baby. Don't forget the business class part, dude. You know better than that, Downtown Vegas. Come on now. If Alonso comes in at all, does it worry you he could go in a couple of years if Madrid came? No, I don't think he leaves us for Madrid. I don't. I think he may manage Madrid at some point, but it wouldn't concern me that, let's say we're having a period of success and Madrid come in. Do I see him running? No, I don't. But do I see him staying 8-9 years? Maybe not. You know, we were very lucky in a modern age where we had that consistency of manager for that long. I don't know what the future looks like with a Liverpool manager. If they come in for a 3-4 year project, it's hard to say at this stage. But no, it wouldn't concern me that he'd run off to Real Madrid, no. What are your opinion on Julian Nagelsmann, and would you take him or Alonso? By the way, Craig, your content's amazing. Credit to you and your family. Thank you so much, Jack, man. That's lovely to hear. And I certainly will pass on your regards to the family, who are trying to fucking cook me at the minute with the heating on. Sorry for the shouting. Sorry, somebody who doesn't know my relationship with my missus is probably going, that's a bit aggro. Sorry, that's just the way we are. What was the question again? Nagelsmann. I'd be alright with Nagelsmann. It'd be a bit underwhelming, but I'd understand the appointment. Okay, hands up in the air time. Full disclosure. I'm so petty. I'm an asshole. Let me start off by saying that. I immediately disliked Nagelsmann when he rocked up with Hoffenheim and he talked about the Anfield atmosphere, and I found it very arrogant, but I'm sure all he was trying to do was say they weren't going to be overawed by the occasion. Now, we found themselves 2-0 down very quickly, and I think the game finished 4-2. But ever since that moment, I've been like, when anyone mentions Nagelsmann, I feel like, oh, the arrogant little twat in the gilet. So, I will admit to having a gripe with Nagelsmann, an irrational one, from that moment. Because I felt it was like, bitch, this ain't no myth. You're going to be coming into Anfield talking about no mythical environment. You're going to find out very quickly that when people talk about the Anfield atmosphere for big games or important games, it ain't no myth. So that bit of what I perceived at the moment as disrespect has stuck with me Ruben Amorim 5-1 on Sky Bet. Let's have a look. See, where's those odds listed? 14-1 last I seen from Sky Bet. Let me check into it now though. Live. Sky Bet, where are you? Football specials, manager specials, next permanent Liverpool manager. Yeah, he is, you're right. Wow, those odds have shifted quite a bit. You are spot on. Ruben Amorim has come in from nowhere there. Earlier on, he was 14-1. But you're right, the latest odds, Xabi Alonso's odds have actually worsened. They're now 1-2 from 2-5. Ruben Amorim is 5-1, so they've shortened. Roberto De Zerbi's long odds have lengthened from 6-1 to 8-1. Pep Linders have lengthened from 8-1 to 10-1. Ange Postecoglou is still the same. Ruben Amorim, his odds have shortened. So if you see me looking up, it's because I have the old odds on my screen here. Thomas Frank, 16-1 is the same. And then Gerrard, Unai Emery, Xavi Hernandez, Zinedine Zidane. Yeah, you're spot on. So what we can take from that is money has been going down on Ruben Amorim. Even with that 70 million release clause. But yes, good shout, good looking out there. It's definitely changed. Xabi still favourite. Yeah, 1-2 for Alonso. Meaning if you bet a quid, or excuse me, if you bet £2, you'd win a quid if you became manager. So he's odds on. Amorim down to 5-1 is the second favourite now with Sky Bet. So good looking out, dude. He's the Sporting Lisbon manager, Kea. Sporting Lisbon manager. Thoughts on VVD's comment? I don't know where the headlines came from. You know, it's very selective, I feel, for the likes of Sky and others to run with. Virgil van Dijk refuses to commit past Klopp. That's definitely not really what I took from the interview. He wants to know who the next manager is. I think that's rational and reasonable because, you know, he's going to be signing maybe the last big deal of his professional career. So, you know, before I'd sign a contract for anything, I'd want to know who's going to be there working with me and what direction they're going to go, and if the club are still going to be looking to win stuff, you know, if the owners are still hungry for success. So, yeah, understandable, but I felt like it was a lot of hyperbole in the media and a lot of sensationalism for very little actual meat on the bones. Roger said, I don't know anything about Amorim. I know very little about him myself, but I know he's absolutely loved for his personality and style of football with Lisbon. I know he's very young as well, 38, 39 years of age. That's it for me. I mean, I can't say I know too much about the guy. It's a big jump to go from managing Sporting Lisbon to managing Liverpool Football Club. But what our friend said earlier on about the odds, absolutely spot on. They have shrunk down to 5-1. Thoughts on who replaces Linders? It's a very good question, Mr. Palmer. Also an important recruitment decision. It depends, I guess, if the new manager has his own team that he wants to bring in. A guy threw this out the other day, kind of almost laughing, but I can potentially see a world where Alonso comes to Liverpool and Linders goes to Leverkusen. You know, I know people are going to go, but he's not enough experience, but neither did Alonso. Alonso was managing Sociedad's B team. Linders has been working as Jurgen Klopp's number 2 now for, 4 or 5 years. And had one stint at a managerial job. Didn't work out, but that was more to do where the club was at that time. So, I think, certainly for me, being Jurgen Klopp's number 2 for that long would outweigh a bit of a solo role as Sociedad B manager. So I could see a world where Leverkusen could potentially look at him. Great coach, highly thought of, very good technically. Takes a lot of the sessions for Liverpool under Klopp anyway. But, that's just something I plucked out of my head and has no basis in reality. What about Broccoli? I've got it on good authority, mate, that Broccoli is leaving with Jurgen Klopp. So, unfortunately, we can't hold on to Broccoli. It has to go, and we're just going to have to accept that. Why is Linders not being considered? I think he is. I think, the odds there as well, 8-1. I do think he's being considered. Let's be frank about it, though. Would we be happy with Linders as Liverpool manager? I wouldn't. And that's a little bit shallow, because some of that comes from, I don't think he has the pulling power, the personality to be that guy. I don't think... So sometimes I've looked at people for the channel when we're making content and others, and I've said, that guy's a number 2. No way they can come in and hold an audience on their own. They're a good number 2 or whatever. And that's what I see with Linders. I don't ever see Pep Linders managing Liverpool and having the pulling power and gravitas to do it. I don't. That's just my opinion. Doesn't hold any water. It's just an honest take. Craig, what do you think about Arne Slot? I think he's decent. Absolutely not. Let me explain to you why. Because the guy from the Goonies was called Slot, and there's no way I'm having a manager that whenever I look at him, all I can think about is the dude's name from the Goonies. So, for that reason, I think it's very understandable that no, he can't be the Liverpool manager. Because all I'll ever be thinking is, hey you guys! So there we go. Would I be happy with Dalglish? No. That would be just silliness at this point. He's been out of football too long. Craig, Jurgen's a massive act to follow. I know, mate. I know. Which is why I think the next appointment has to be one that touches on the emotions of fans. Which is why I think Alonso's the perfect fit. Because... if nothing else, if Alonso came in, there'd be no suspicion, right? There'd be no wondering about, does he get it? Does he understand what it's, what the city is, what the football club is, the league? No, we know he gets it. The new manager doesn't have to be like Jurgen. Just look at Shankly and Paisley, 2 totally different personalities. Football ain't back then though, mate. They didn't have to deal with media, social media, well, as much media I should say, social media, and everything that goes with being a modern manager. Whether we want to admit it or not, personality, charisma, gravitas is a big part of it these days. Not as big a part of it as being a good coach, but certainly forms part of it. We are that shallow as a world. Taylor, welcome to Anfield Agenda Ultras, my friend. Much love. Thank you for showing your support. I look forward to chatting with you in the Discord group as well. If you are an Anfield Agenda Ultras member, don't forget you can check out the Discord. You will see the link on the community tab or the memberships tab of the channel. Eddie Howe's 8-1. Where? On what app, Gary? Because I've not seen Eddie Howe on any of the apps I use. At that shorter price. Craig, Barca is going for Hansi Flick. Wrong appointment in my opinion, but okie dokie. I think Barcelona should be moving heaven and earth to get De Zerbi for their next manager. I think De Zerbi is as close to the Barca way, and I think he'd be a great fit at Barcelona. But look, if they go a Hansi Flick, they go a Hansi Flick. But they've had a habit of getting stuff wrong at Barcelona over the last 10 years. Oh, you were joking. Good. I was getting worried. Genuinely, when you said he was 8-1, I was thinking, please God, no. Because nothing against Eddie Howe, but a lot against his assistant manager. Can we vote for you to be the next Liverpool manager? Said Jack Nicol. You could, if you fancy relegation, because I'm not that guy. All I'd be good for was the team talks, and I'm a passion merchant. That's it. I don't have to. I'd be a terrible manager, mate. Honestly, I'd fall out with the owners in a week as well. Imagine me in a press conference. A journalist says something I don't like, and I'm either jumping over the table at him or calling him a "see you next Tuesday." The words "club" and "disrepute" would probably be a sentence you'd see. Two words very close together. If I was that guy. Taylor, thank you, buddy, for gifting 5 Anfield Agenda memberships. When do you think the announcement will be made on Liverpool's manager? I think, Andrew, it has to be as soon as possible. For the very reasons we've spoke about during this stream. Uncertainty is nobody's friend. It's no friend to contract renewals. It's no friend to recruitment. You need as much consistency and much stuff in place as quickly as possible. So I would hope, and I'm just pulling this out my arse because I don't know the answer, but I would hope we hear something by the end of February, which feels like a long time. But what I'm worried about is that we, the fans, don't hear, but the club do their business, and maybe the players know a little bit. But I'm worried that maybe we don't get the announcement, and I hope we get it soon, because I think once we know who that person is, we can look forward to just the end of Klopp's reign. And we know then. We have a day or two where we talk about it, and then we kind of put it to the back of our minds and we carry on with the remainder of this campaign. Because I don't even know how to talk about transfers now. I don't even know how to do videos about what Liverpool's transfer business may be in the summer. I have no idea, because I haven't got a clue what the new person's going to be thinking, or how they view the squad, or how long it'll take them to assess the squad. So yeah, as soon as possible is the answer for me. Cameron Da Costa, welcome to Anfield Agenda FC. Cameron, Taylor gifting another 5 as well. Thank you, Taylor. You're very, very kind. I'm sure they'd be very much appreciated, my man. Craig, some night I reckon you'll be on a stream for the new manager release will just happen. I got a feeling. What I think will happen is I'll just finish a stream and put everything away, and then the news will come, because that seems to be my luck. Or they do it in prime Craig sleep hours. Like the news when Jurgen came at about 11:15 the other day, like the frantic phone calls were get Sabrina on the phone from Connor and Ben, like get her to wake Craig up, because I'm always dead to the world at that time. And yeah, that was it. I wish I could just do these announcements in the evening, and consider my time frame and my sleeping schedule. Do you think Virgil saying that he doesn't know whether he'll be here or not next manager wasn't good timing? I think it was an honest answer. I don't read too much into it, because I don't think he means too much by it other than exactly what he said. Got to finish the season. Stay professional. Listen to Jurgen. Focus on the remainder of the campaign. Delivering as much success as they can. And then when he knows who the new manager is, and he sits down and maybe has a chat with the new manager, or what the new manager sees about him moving forward, then he talks about a new deal. I think it's understandable, but certainly it doesn't strike me as a negative or a threat or something that it's maybe being made out to be. I think it's very just obvious. I just think it's the right answer that he gave. I would have liked him to add in a little bit at the end, maybe about, I love this club, great being captain of it, yada yada, but ultimately it didn't worry me when I read it. When I first seen the news, I was like, what? He's talking about leaving? Give me the quotes. And the first thing I said to Connor when he sent me the headline was, I need the article. I need the context. I can't just go on and talk about that without the context. And when I read the context of it, I was like, this is it? This is what all this crap is about? Nah, I think people are just reaching, looking for headlines. My wife asked me, would I be that upset if she dumped me the way I feel about Jurgen? I told her no. I don't blame you. Um, yeah, like, how many Premier Leagues has your wife delivered? Do you know what I mean? Same as my wife, none. Many European finals has Sabrina brought me to as a none. Many comebacks from Barcelona has Sabrina given? None. So, all right, you gave birth to a couple of kids. Fair play. You know, we're still going on about that, but ultimately, sorry, I can't even keep a straight face anymore. Do I think Mo will leave? Like I said about Verge, it's tough to really know, but I feel like the odds of him leaving have increased since Klopp said he's quitting at the end of the season. Yeah, I feel like the odds of it, the club's hand's been weakened there, I feel. Don't be so hard on your wife, mate. You'll regret it. No, I won't. If you knew the relationship I had with my wife, mate, you'd understand. She gets who I am. And our bond is exceptionally close. She's my best friend. And I'm not hard on my wife at all. I love her dearly, more than anything. So, yeah, I'm good. Don't worry about that, man. She knows she's married to a piss taker. But she likes it that way. I'm that dude that opens the door for my wife, but gives her a little slap on the ass when she's walking through it, just to let her know, you know, you're still that. Whoever the manager is will support him even if he's not the favourite. Yes, we will, 100%. There'll be a crazy send-off at Anfield, Klopp and Salah. Oh, I don't even want to think about it. Do you know what I mean? I'm only getting past the Bobby send-off. And now I'm thinking about a Klopp send-off. I don't even... Yeah, that is going to be... tissues at the standby that day, definitely. Would you start Bradley against Chelsea? No, I wouldn't. Because Trent's fit. It's no disrespect to Conor Bradley. I think, you know, I rate Conor Bradley very highly. But if Trent's back, Trent plays in the position unless Klopp moves him into midfield. Look, if the right back spot's available because Trent's somewhere else, 100% play Conor Bradley. Every belief in the young man. But I think it'll be Trent back into his position because Trent wasn't out that long with his injury. Which manager will make both VVD and Trent stay? I hope Alonso, but I don't know because I don't know what traits in a manager Verge or Trent or Mohamed Salah would find inspirational, charismatic. I don't know. I don't have a clue. That's the truth. That's what I keep saying. Uncertainty is not our friend here. We need to know who the guy is going to be. I hope Klopp gives that ref Paul Tierney a box tomorrow night, said John Power. So, I won't lie to you, John. I'm almost egging on the PGMOL to give us Tierney for the last home game of the season. You watching, Howard? Billy Big Bollocks? You're willing to do it now this week? Give us Tierney on Wednesday. Please give us Tierney for the last home game of the season, Howard. Please. Because, you know, I'll pay or start to GoFundMe for whatever the fine is because I would love to see Klopp go through Paul Tierney for a shortcut and hear every word of a broadcast. I'd love a few home truths to be... I don't want any physical violence. I would not, you know, advocate for that at all. But I would very much love to hear an inside Anfield where we get the tunnel audio of Jurgen Klopp telling Paul Tierney what a little prick he is. I mean, I feel like you could charge for that content. And we'd all pay for it. Would love to see Klopp as Ireland manager. Yeah, we can only dream, right? Definitely, yeah. Not going to happen, like, but we can barely afford anybody, let alone the Jurgen money. Do you think that the longer the new manager stays a secret, the more likely it is Alonso, with them maybe not wanting to ruin his run at Leverkusen? I think, like I said earlier on, let's say for instance it's Alonso and it was announced next week. I think it's better for everybody if it's announced, because then everybody can get back to work. So if Liverpool knew it was Alonso, if Leverkusen knew Alonso was going to be leaving, it allows Leverkusen behind the scenes to start planning. It allows Liverpool to start planning. It allows all the fans of both clubs to just see out the season and enjoy the football with the managers that we have, and the uncertainties removed. And then the the Leverkusen fans can hopefully get the same certainty that we're hoping for with our announcement. So I think there's no need to keep it secret, because we all understand they're professionals and they'll get back to work and they'll finish the seasons as strongly as they can. Billy Hogan was very calm and smiley at the press conference. He already knows some things at Glenn Boylan. Yeah, look, there's a huge part of me that feels they're further along than we believe. You know, they've had from November to now to at least run through names or have a look. So yeah, I hope that the read you have there is the same as I do on it. That yeah, maybe they're a little bit more relaxed. The one that does get me though, and I don't say it concerns me, but certainly intrigues me, is the sporting director position. That I'm very interested in. I know the guy from Bournemouth's name has been mentioned, but it's a big role in modern football, and especially with a new manager coming in that doesn't have the trust and track record of transfers that Jurgen does. He earned the trust of the owners and all the extra privileges that came with that, like the role on the recruitment team or the final say on it. New manager might not have them if the owners put their faith in the sporting director from that regard. So there's a lot of a balance to be struck here. And also that's a relationship that has to work, because they have to get on. They have to gel. They have to work very closely with each other. So it's a really important appointment to get done. Let's get Rangnick. See, I said that earlier on to Connor Arian, and I was expecting more of a pushback, but Ralph Rangnick is an excellent director of football. The role he was in at United should never have happened. They shouldn't have pushed them into the managerial role. They should have left him in the role he was best suited to, which is director of football or football operations. So, I mean, look, we can talk about the United connection and all that stuff, but Ralph Rangnick is a very good director of football or sporting director. And I would personally have absolutely no issues with Rangnick coming in that role if it worked with the manager who was coming in. Yeah. So I don't think it happens, but you know, his name should certainly be considered because he's got the pedigree. How would you feel if Edwards came back? That would be the best news I could get after hearing Klopp's leaving. 100%. To hear Michael Edwards was coming back would be incredible. So I'd love it. I'd be over the moon. And I think it would go... Again, I don't know if it happens. I have no idea. But I think it gives a lot of belief to your Trents, your Moes, your Verges as well. That, okay, we know what to expect a bit here with him. We know how he operates. We know how successful he was. So, look, it would be great. Do I think it happens? No, but I wanted to. Joe Gomez has been amazing, love him, but it's Robbo's position crosses in the pace, said Julian. I'm that way as well, Julian. Very grateful for the great work Gomez has done in filling in. But, you know, I don't have the numbers, and I said this earlier on, but I have a feeling, or at least my perception, is that we've not had as many assists from that position since Robbo hasn't been there. So it gives us another string to our bow. And as good as Joe has been, I'm with you, Julian. I do think it's his position, Robbo, when he's back fit. Why is Pep Linders not an option? He is, and will be considered. You know, just because we hear he's leaving at the end of the season, I would, if I'm you, look at that from he's leaving his current role at the end of the season. That's the way I'd interpret that if I was you guys. Look, is he going to get the Liverpool job? Maybe not. Probably not. But he will be considered. And that's what I took when I heard they were leaving, is he's leaving his role as assistant manager at the end of the season. Doesn't mean he won't be under consideration for the manager's job. What is Edwards doing now? I believe he's working with Dr. Ian Graham, who set up a consultation business for sports. I think it's to do with analysing data and stuff like that. I don't understand it too much, but they've formed a new business and working together on that. Players join. Oh, tomorrow. Sorry, I am going to be able to live stream tomorrow. I've moved my psychologist appointment for the following week, so tomorrow it will be 4 p.m. video going out. 6:15 live stream here on Anfield Agenda, and then we're going straight over the top of the league for a watch along of Forest against Arsenal. Myself and Ben are going to be doing that one, so that's what we can expect tomorrow. I'm going to say my goodnight now and go and spend some time with the missus, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Thanks so much for tonight again and for everything over the last few days. You've been lots of fun, lots of help as well. Do check out the preview, drop a like on the video, and if you haven't subscribed, please do. We are less than, I think, about 120 away now from 240k, so I'll catch you guys tomorrow. Have a good one. Thank you again.